This is a Honda 500 twin race bike whose engine I built and tuned a few years ago, and it's come back here recently just to be serviced and checked over ready for the forthcoming season. So I've done the cam chain adjustment and valve adjustments and so on. It's also been running a bit erratic, and the owner was complaining of the throttles sticking, so I had a look and the slides were picking up and sticking every now and again in the carburetors in both of them. So I've eased them with very fine emery, just very lightly, and put them back in and WD-40'd them, and that seems to have sorted them out. And I've also been through the process of balancing the carburetors, the slides. The needles were down a click too low really for my liking, so I've brought them back to the middle setting, and I've generally been checking and adjusting the carburetors, and I've moved the pilot jets as well. There's two locations for them in these carburetors, and when the carburetors are slightly downdraft like these are, the pilot jets should go in the carburetor body rather than the float bowl, and they were in the float bowl, so I've moved them. I've even put new spark plugs in it and just made some adjustments to the ignition timing. I've just advanced it very slightly because it was sort of ticking over. Not that you need a tick over on a race bike, but I've got it running pretty smooth now, and it was ticking over but snuffing itself out after about 10-20 seconds. I just advanced the ignition timing a bit and it seems to have helped, so I'll put the camera down and see if we can fire it up and have a listen. That's the ignition on. Let's plug that wire in there. It doesn't want to tick over much slower than that, or it does stall, but that's not too bad. It might be preferable not to have a tick over at all on the race bike really, but that's up to the owner. It's pretty even now, not quite perfect, but seems to be nice and steady. Engine sounds good mechanically. I shortened the cylinder barrels on this one and modified some black bomber pistons to go in there, among other things, a few other little tricks. We also had, I think it's 20 thou ground off the base circle of the camshafts, give us a bit more lift, a few other little tweaks. It's always smoked a little bit. Since I put brand new pistons and rings in it, and it's still got the valve guide seals. But having said that, I don't think it uses much oil and it goes very well. When we dynoed it, it was putting out 43 brake horsepower at the back wheel, which is 4 horsepower more than a CB500T engine from the factory would have at the crank, so that's not bad. It sounds nice. I think that's about as good as I'm likely to get it. Just to spend all week on it. I think it's going well enough, it's starting well enough. The guy who owns it should be able to enjoy a good bit of racing on this, and it's a good sort of midfield bike in its class, but pretty reliable. I think as long as he sort of maintains batteries and oil changes, he should be good for the coming season on this now. I'm pretty happy with it. I think it can go home. Just disconnect this wire. Which incidentally, that's another modification I made. The wire coming from the battery, the live wire, did have a male end on it. And I disconnected the battery like this to stop the engine, and the wire dangled down and the male end earthed and frazzled the wire. It could have caused a fire, so it's always best to have a female connector on the live end and not a male. Easy mistake to make, always worth bearing in mind. Could have quite easily set the whole bike on fire, and that would have been pretty dramatic, especially as it was indoors in a workshop with all the other ones. Anyway, job done.